Hello again. This is Math 1120 coming to you from the College Edu page, and the title of this lecture is Midterm Timing, Crickets, and Roe versus Wade. It contains an announcement about our midterm and LSAs involving crickets and opinions by different levels of education on important social issues. As always, be an attentive learner while you watch this video. So we're entering week 4, and I announced the other day that we are targeting October 12th for midterm availability. More later about when it has to be taken. The plan is to deploy this in the testing center, and if you need accommodations other than being able to come to the testing center to take it, you should be requesting those with an email to me as soon as possible. And you should be having accommodations listed in the title of the email. I continue to work on the LSAs, but a lot of times I have opportunities to help students, so I'll work with students before I'll grade these papers. But we had several LSAs, and the most recent one was dealing with speedy lube and home run distances. But in this presentation, we talk about an LSA dealing with crickets and another one dealing with education and social issues. Both of these will be due at the same time. So here's the cricket problem, and you're to do problems 1, 2, and 3 only. You don't need to do 4. Crickets make a chirping noise by sliding their wings rapidly over each other. Perhaps you'd noticed the number of chirps seems to increase with temperatures. The following data lists the temperatures in degrees Fahrenheit and the number of chirps per second for the striped ground cricket. And you can see that this actually was a research paper. So here you have the temperatures, and here's the chirps per second. Okay, so the question is, what is the likely explanatory variable in these data, and why? I ask you to draw a scatter plot of this data. You're to compute the linear correlation coefficient between the temperature and chirps per second, and answer the important question of, does a linear relationship exist between temperature and chirps per second? And then using the same data, this data, you are to find a least squares regression line treating temperature as the explanatory variable and chirps per second as the response variable. Interpret the slope and y-intercept if appropriate. Predict the chirps per second if it is 83.3 degrees Fahrenheit. A cricket is found to chirp 15 times per second when the temperature is 82 degrees Fahrenheit. Is this rate of chirping above or below the average at this temperature? And if it is 55 degrees outside, would you recommend using the linear model found in part A, that's this part A, to predict the number of chirps per second of a cricket? Why or why not? And then the last component of this particular LSA is use the results from problem 1, that's this one, and problem 2, and that was this one, to compute and interpret R squared, the coefficient of determination. Problem 10 is an LSA dealing with qualitative data. So these are not numbers, but these are categories, and these are also educational categories. So, and this is dealing with feelings on abortion. The Pew Research Center for the People and the Press conducted a poll in which it asked individuals to disclose their level of education and feelings about the availability of abortion. The table is based on the results of the survey. So here are the people who said generally available, allowed but more limited, illegal with very few exceptions, and never permitted. Those were the way they could respond. And they talked and categorized people as having a high school or less education, some college, and being a college graduate. I'm asking you to construct a frequency marginal distribution, construct a relative frequency marginal distribution. To answer the question, what proportion of college graduates feel that abortion should never be permitted? You should construct a conditional probability distribution of people's feelings about the availability of abortion by level of education. You should draw a bar chart of the conditional distribution found in Part D and answer the broad question, is level of education associated with the opinion on availability of abortion? And if so, how? Now, certainly some of this stuff is in your book, and we're also doing some examples of this in the VCMs, which are being made available to you. So make sure you watch those as giving you a leg up on this kind of problem. In closing, now more than ever, time is precious. Each day must count. Do the math. It will make you strong. And now more than ever, take care of yourself and of each other, because we're all in this together. God bless you all.